Last Word.
Well, welcome to The Last Word. It's Tuesday. It's the day that we have this conversation immediately after NTV News. And last week we had a conversation about order in the public transport sector. We had investors in the matatu industry and investors in the border sector. And due to public demand, we're having a second bit of that conversation because it's a very chaotic sector, as people said. And we were trying to figure out what led to this chaos. What emerged last week in our conversation is how much of a silent investor we have in the matatu sector. And this is the corrupt systems, whether it's the police or Kanjo and others. Why? Because they're fueled by cash. So the public said, how about you remove cash from the public transport sector? And that's what we're having a conversation tonight. Is Kenya really ready to fully adopt cashless payment in the public transport sector? That's our question. My name is Eric Latif. Welcome. I'm here with my colleagues Zahain Dimuli and James Smart.
Indeed, Latif, I think from last week there was a lot of revelations of how this business actually works. And until that silent investor is removed from the circulation, then there'll always be chaos. I think that was very clear. It's sort of like a takeaway. I think the next thing that is important is how much are we willing as a people to take or bite the bullet, as you like to say, and say, okay, this is an important thing, but come what may, just like the Mishoki rules, it is uncomfortable that we need to have some sort of order in this transport sector. The things that will be instituted will be very, if you like, not popular, but it's needed. And I'm not sure how much we have that capacity for as a people, as a country. I don't think if our politics allows that, as we speak. But it's an important question to consider. If you remove cash from the public transport system, will we have dealt a serious blow to the corrupt cartel?
I think also it's who benefits from it remaining in cash. Why is there so much bitterness around the transition? And Kenya being the fourth in the continent in terms of technology and innovation, what is so hard? I mean, after COVID, every one of us should be having a structuralization happening of changing to a digital system. But the transport industry, we have so many rollouts that have come up on cashless, and then we all just slide back to cash. And I'm very eager to know who benefits, who still keeps the cash system working.
There's an overarching question, which is, can we actually have a public transport sector in this country? We have a privately driven sector, transport sector in this country. Now, does that also answer the question of, why the bottleneck? Right? So we have a room full of people who are stakeholders in the public transport sector. Of course, that includes road users, passengers, and investors in the sector, plus bus and matatu crew. They are here with us, and we want to start just by, sampling your views on this particular one. You have the boards with you. Red it means no, and green means yes. And the question is whether Kenya is truly ready. From your individual perspective, is Kenya really ready to fully adopt cashless payment in the public transport sector? Let's see your vote. What do you think? Yes, green?
You can be honest.
No, red.
It's a good mix.
We have a good mix of greens and reds. Greens and reds. So there are greens and reds. You have the mic and you have a red. Let's hear from you. What do you think?
Good evening.
Abuba. And my point this evening is Kenya is not ready for adaptation of the new system.
Why?
I think you're an issue with the microphone. Let's let that get fixed. Let's get to this gentleman on this side. What was your vote? Was it green or red? It was red. Not ready. Please introduce yourself and why you think that is. Put the mic next to your mouth.
Okay, my name is Dickens and I'm talking Kiswahili. Kenya bado hatuko tayari kwa hiyo cashless pay. Juu wengi wetu, kwa mfano kama mimi na watu wengine, tukitoka manyumba zile kazi za kila siku, mapato. So
iko in cash.
Iko in cash. So niyo cash tu tunalipa. So bado cashless Kenya tujafikia hapo.
Vitu zako zote ufanya cash.
Una M-Pesa, utumiangi M-Pesa ama kama hiyo?
Tumia M-Pesa, lakini hata bado M-Pesa unaweza fika kwa gari ulipe ikatae ama delays, lakini more better bado watu wako kwa cash. Majority kwa matatu watu bado kwa cash.
Okay. Let's see Buba, whether your mic is now working.
Okay, bwana harakati J Habuba, na tuseme tu kweli kwamba taifa letu la Kenya halipo tayari kwa system ambayo inataka kuintroduced. Hivi tuseme mfano, yupo kama nyanya zetu kutoka Ushago. Hao watu hawajui kutumia simu. Na wezi mleta kama mjini Nairobi, umwambia kwamba labda yupo peke yake kwamba atalipa na hiyo simu kwa njia ya M-Pesa. Jambo lingine, ndiposa tuwe tayari kwa hii system. Kwanza, serikali yenyewe lazima isimamishe ufisadi. Sababu, hebu tuseme kwamba unaabiri gari kutoka Tasi unafika town. Kabla ufike town, unakuta kwamba umepeana 50 kama mara 5. Kwa hivyo unakuta kwamba sisi wenyewe yale tunasema kwamba tuyafanya tuyatekeleze, sababu matatu sekta inachangia kuongeza ufisadi. Sababu wanakubali kupeana hongo kwa serikali ambao ni maaskari. Na pia hao maaskari tu hiyo tume ndio inasema kwamba tunachunguza ufisadi katika taifa letu la Kenya. Ndiposa tuseme kwamba tutamaliza ufisadi, lazima matatu waache kupeana hongo na pia serikali aache kuchukua. Asante.
Asante mwana.
Ni ngumu.
You have the microphone.
Nataka kumweleza
Jina lako nani na wewe ni nani?
sorry, good evening. Mimi ni Babu Balia. Na kutoa 50 inasaidia
Freedom of speech.
Inasaidia juu ukipelekwa cell uta lose target ya mwenye gari anataka. Mwenye gari anataka 8,000. So umeenda huko ndani unabukiwa enda kotini kesho. So gari imelala, mwenye gari anataka 8,000. Na mwenye gari azatoa gari andike dereva mwingine. So
wewe ni dereva?
Yeah.
Wewe ni dereva?
Yes.
Wewe hiyo ndio kazi yako?
Yeah.
Kwa kila siku ni dereva?
Yes.
So wakiintroduce system ambayo hauguzi cash. Nikusema hata kwamba polisi pia haguzi cash. Pesa abiria kiingia kwa gari, that money is paid straight and goes to the account of the owner.
The owner.
Is that going to help you?
No, because of fuel. Utekaje mafuta mwenye gari ukimpigia simu ashiki.
You can put a card, you walk around with a card. So wewe unaweka mafuta, ndio?
Unajua mwenye gari haweki mafuta, ni wewe unaweka.
Unasema utakuwa na kadi So hiyo kadi iko na pesa. Alafu wewe ukimafuta ikiisha unaweka. Tuko na system. Watu na manage fleets, big fleets. They don't need to have, cash all the time.
Yeah, it's true, but cash inasaidia.
Kuna kitu usemi. There's something.
Kuna vile cash inasaidia.
There's a mic there.
There's a green there.
Naitwa Ibrahim Achera. Na according to me,
wewe ni abiria?
Mimi ni abiria. Kulingana na mimi, I think tunafaa tuache kutumia cash. How I think so. Kuna masaa utapata, let's say if we could not be using cash, tunatumia kuna a system that we used to pay. Iyo masaa yenye mna waste kwa njia, mara msimame askari ya hongwe, haingekuwa amungekuwa mna waste your time. Unapata uko late kwa kazi, lakini juu lazima mhongane, lazima msimame askari asalimiwe. Na I think kama tungekuwa tunatumia, let's say kama cashless haimaanishi M-Pesa peke yake. There is so many methods zenye unaweza tunza pesa, not only M-Pesa. So kama tunza pesa hivyo, tuseme zinaenda bank direct. Hiyo time yenye askari atakiwa pesa kutoka bank haiko. So in a way kuna vile we are reducing corruption na pia accidents. The more askari anapokea cash, the more gari mbovu zinapita na the more tuna cause accidents.
Okay.
Na the same time hii pesa yenye tunapeana cash, pesa kidogo ndio tuseme 10 bob ndio inafanyanga mtu argue na conductor. Juu ya unaweza pata uliambiwa kutoka tuseme kutoka Roisadi tao umeambiwa ni 20 bob. Lakini ukifika hapo hiyo masaa unampea mbao kwa mkono hivi anakusukuma. Anakusukuma juu hiyo 10 bob inajompea. Ama unasikia umeargue na yeye juu ana change, juu cash ana change, umeargue na yeye akakupitisha ukiwa na mood ukamuongelesha vibaya akakusukuma like
so cash is driving conflict.
Yeah.
Cash in a way cash inaleta conflict sana.
Okay.
What does Kashaya? Patia microphone hapa mbele to the only lady in the audience, please.
Very well. My name is Kiki Favored. I have a different opinion on this. I am feeling we should use both cashless and cash. But kuwe na a lot of keenness on institutional and regulatory weaknesses. These are all the authority bodies. Name them. Kera, Kura, Kena, whatever they have. Because we may focus a lot on whatever the 100 shillings or the 50 shillings that is given to a policeman without knowing these authority bodies, they don't have a good working framework. There is no coordination among themselves. Because if these bodies, the transport authorities, they can have a very good framework, including everything, name the entire transport, repairing of the roads, making sure all the vehicles that are on the road, they are good, making sure every driver or a conductor may adhere to the rules and regulation on transport. I think whether cash or through the M-Pesa or even through the bank or the pay bill or whatever the payment method, if these transport authorities bodies can make the framework very good and they coordinate, speak in one voice, make sure whether it rains or whatever it might be, hii sheria wameweka wote as a team inaendelea vizuri, I think the transport sector can completely be good and it can be very well. So let us stop this blame of blaming a conductor giving a police. Why do we always talk about a police? I'm not a policeman anyway. Professionally, I'm a journalist myself, and I'm a voice to the voiceless, to the community or to the less privileged. But why do we focus most in our country when we talk about the transport? We focus that a police be given a 50 shillings or 100 shillings. Why don't we talk and consult or directly turn the stone, which is called the transport authority bodies? This kinakera, kinakura, kinakena, whatever is the name, kina NTSA. Why don't these bodies work together? Lay down in good structures, a good framework, from the conductor to the driver, from the owner of the vehicle, from the company, from everyone, from the gari in a transport, whether goons or whatever the transport is. Where can they lay down and make sure
zote zifanye kazi.
Yes, they work together.
You raise a good
so
voice.
We can either use whatever the method, whether cashless or cash, but let these bodies make sure the transport sector it is properly
regulated
by all the authorities. Thank
you. Know, there used to be years where when we had the OTC buses and then we had the Kenya buses, the big ones, the ones that before Mishuki came and they used to be filled to the brim. And there's a song by Nameless called Mega Rider. It came from a cashless system being introduced by Kenya Bus and Stagecoach then. That was basically just pay in advance and you have this card and you go into the bus, you tap the card and you've already preloaded basically, right? So we already had a system like that with one company. It was working with one company. Now we have a multiplicity of companies and we have some of the investors in the sector here, they'll tell us. But then there have also been attempts by government to reintroduce this sort of organized mode of harmonized collection of fares. In 2013, 2014, there was actually a directive and a policy by government to introduce this cashless system. And there was a deadline for July 2014. All matatus must comply with this deadline. There was even an attempt at a launch I don't know if you remember that famous photo of Bob Collymore and the KCB CEO, then Joshua Igara, and the president in Abatatu from State House coming to Kencom, and they were launching this cashless thing, and then it just died. The question is, why have those attempts failed?
Yeah.
The owners are here, the crews are here, and they'll tell us exactly why it failed. Questions have been raised. Is it that the owners also do not want, when you formalize this, you're also formalizing tax.
Tax, yes. Revenue leakages and the like.
Yeah, good evening.
Good
My
evening.
name is Joseph Kagai, chairman for ICM, Intercorridor Mobility. And you're raising a very fundamental question. Since Mega Rider, then Beba Beba by Equity, and all that with Bob Collymore, and why do they fail? And also, I can also extend that question to why another regulation remove the 14-seaters in commuter and everything, and it still failed. When you look at all these regulations, the reason they fail is not because they are bad. It is because we have a country whereby everybody is informed on what they are supposed to do, but the government want to dictate things without informing prior. The reason most of those systems fail is because these are, as you stated in the beginning and we said last time, the current state of the public transport, we call it public transport because we carry public, but there is nothing about public sector.
About the sector that is public.
There is nothing.
Yeah.
It's private.
It is purely the profits and the losses and the struggles and the challenges, they're all private.
Private.
In fact, there is nowhere the government comes to elevate that challenge. And the reason they fail is because the government sits in boardrooms and they decide from tomorrow, every matatu should do this. Every matatu should be of this capacity, or that's why they fail. But whenever the government agencies call the investors in the transport sector, and we sit down and we discuss, we have done so much. Actually, Kenyans don't know. This industry has reformed a lot. Some things that they may look very, very small, but nowadays you can see a lot of coordination. It is until the buses were being touched that we came for strike. I don't know if you remember the last time we had a strike. It's a very long time because there has been a lot of engagement between the sector and the government agencies. But now let me come to the question of today, the cashless. Is it possible? Is Kenya ready? Actually, Kenya became ready very long time ago. The only missing link is the goodwill of government to incentivize those systems. Because I can tell you, if today I onboard a system, like a few months ago we were called by NCBA and Commute. There's another app called Commute, a platform. And it is actually facilitating some circles in the industry. You can even book a seat on a bus while still at home. By the time you get on stage, it is reserved for you. That is how those systems are clear. And it is not by government, it's private. And it is working. When COVID came, a disaster called COVID invented cashless. Bila we kupenda, we were told now we cannot have contact with money. And from that time, I can tell you, I don't even remember when I paid cash, personally. Whether it's a supermarket, a small shop, even the toilets in town, they were forced to have a till number there. Personally, for the last 2 or 3 years, I have not paid, because I use Matatu also, I have not paid cash. I don't even remember when. Whenever I go for shopping, I don't know even when I use cash. So Kenyans are ready. Everybody is already onboarded into this because actually it is more safer. You don't have time to struggle waiting for change.
But Chairman, there's something that you're not saying.
Yes.
And so I want to sort of push back on one point. The only law that we know from transport system that worked, actually there was no consultation to the industry, the Mishuki rules, all right? The government said this is the rule. We have too many accidents and we need to institute these measures. And you have X number of days to follow the path, okay? Just listen to me. And that happened, okay? Because government has a role, whether this is a private or, there's nothing public about the private system. So I understand that the losses and everything else is purely investment and it's a private individual's responsibility. But government has a role. So when government comes up with a policy that, for argument purposes, public participation, and we've said, okay, because of all these chaos and too many vehicles, and we'll never expand our roads, let's have, I don't know, not 14-seater matatus, for instance, as an example. Again, it's a policy that comes from, let's say, top down, okay? My point is that a government role cannot be diminished just because the whole sector is private and they need consultation.
Let me surprise you. Public transport is like any other business in the country. Today, the government cannot wake up and say, for you to drink milk, whether it's beer or milk or soda, you must pay cashless. Because that's a company privately owned. It's a product of that company. It is for them to understand how they want to sell it, receive money on it. What government has authority over, it is what we call the regulation on safety standards, the KEBS. So what Mishuki rules was actually doing, it was enforcing what is already there by law. That this bus, for it to carry passengers, these are the requirements. And you must do it. And if I want to be in that business, I had to make sure there is safety belts. I had to, because that is the hardware that is regulated by government. But now the service is not regulated by government. The only thing is regulated is the license. Once you get your license, go and operate your business. But it's not like matatu industry don't want it. The reason why the Bob Colimo KCB thing failed actually is because they want platforms introduced to us for other people's business to reap. If you tell me I onboard my fleet in a system, let's say owned by a certain bank or a certain company, there is a charging fee charge. All right, 10 shillings. Do I put it on the customer or do I reduce on my income? But nowadays, I was going to this. Nowadays, the companies themselves, the transport companies themselves, we have our systems that we have invented, we have established, like what intercontinental mobility is doing right now, because we want to focus. Most of the people in the industry know ICM is actually focusing on actually the transformation of our fleet, not just the system. The fleet, we want in the next 5 years, at least we look at Nairobi, we see 25% of public transport is electric. Good buses, good standard, good systems, operational. And that's why I said, actually, we have already finished, we are waiting for the shipment to come in. The reason there was delays because now the taxes were too high. We hope the launch of the EV policy will come into place because it was actually preventing the city to invest more on these good systems. If you today, you have electric buses on the road, they are cashless, most of them. Actually, once it is cashless. And once you enter an EV bus, you don't even remember you have cash. You see the pochi there, or the till number with the bus, and you pay and you go home and you feel okay with it. We have already initiated transformation of our industry. We have already started inventing our ICM platform that we are building. It is so robust that even if there is an accident, it is highlighted on that app because it is connected. That electric bus has more than 6 cameras. And the police have no choice because you cannot stop an EV bus. What will you look for? It is above all standards by KEBS. So hata askari akiona basi ya stima inakuja na juanga hapa sina kitu. Because it is cashless. It is to the current standard of safeties. So hiyo system ya cashless, the only point it fails is when the government want to push it because we know the people behind the platforms are not in the industry.
So
we want every shilling to rotate within the industry so that it can be like an incentive for me to make sure that it is working.
It's business rivalry. That's what I hear you saying, Joseph. It's
it's people coming to reap in our business without even consulting us.
That's it. That's
a problem.
That's a problem here. That you're feeling you ought to own the solution.
Exactly.
Or the person who's bringing the solution ought to have approached you, not being imposed on you.
Very well.
And when you look at them, you see this as somebody else who's making a business. And of course, Kenya and Kenyans and the way we are with our government, you're seeing, hapa kuna mtu anakulia na ni jasho yangu.
Unaona 50 bob ya e-citizen.
It's a distrust.
Hiyo 50 bob. That is the main business.
It's an issue.
Yes.
So sasa mlikubali citizen mkakataa ile ingine
I think me, I'm a bit confused, and I think the room can help me paint this picture. So there's of course the interlink between the industry and government. ile ya fahali wawili wakipigana nyasi ndio huwa unaumia. Ni abiria sasa mimi nataka kuuliza. So we have the customer in between and the government and the industry, right? The government and the industry pull the masses. If the industry decides you want to go on a strike today, the government has V8s to go home. Kenyans are on the street, right? But again, when the government imposes stuff on you, you are not able to create fleets that are comfortable, you're not able to fuel, etc. My question is, at what point does the industry and the government actually think of the customer? And another thing is, why is the industry and the government two separate rivals? Yet the customer, when we're saying, for example, in the situation, let me do the map of Safaricom, for example. So most Kenyans are paying with Safaricom, right? And you receive the cash on M-Pesa. The transaction costs are still on the customer, yet the customer is abruptly being blamed within the situation. Yet when taxes are high, you will increase the price of the transport, which will only affect the abiria. So in my head, I think in between here, we are sacrificing a very big portion of the business, which is the passengers.
The source of the money.
The source of the money is being very much thrown under the bus.
But like
Can I
you say,
respond to
the
that?
transaction is not
You
just
can.
to the passenger. Even as you pay me, for me to access the money, there's still fee for that. Actually, M-Pesa became the easiest and the most comfortable way for anybody to be on cashless platform. Because it is not, as an industry, it is not owned by somebody else. It brings convenience to me personally. And also it's not an introduction to something new.
Yeah.
For you to onboard money on a private platform, you onboard with M-Pesa, there is charge for M-Pesa, and then there is fee that is charged by that platform. So it's a double expense. But now these are comfortable. But when we do it ourselves, we know how we calculate the fares and everything. So you don't even feel any excess on as a
Really?
customer. Yes, but now when they introduce it with their charges, we reject it because we look at the money they want as a convenience fee. It's too much.
Their fee.
If we push it to the customer, it is a lot. If we deduct it on our profit, it is still a lot.
Yeah.
Charles, here on the mic. Introduce yourself. Let's hear.
Thank you. My name is Charles Aholi. I'm the executive director at NAPTA. We're a non-profit organization championing sustainable public transport. I think our biggest problem is how we define public transport. Because right now, we're basically defining public transport as a business. In the real sense, public transport should be a public good. The government itself must have an investment in the public transport sector to provide that service. The same way government has investment in the healthcare sector, in the education sector, and every other sector, the same thing it ought to be happening in our public transportation, so that the common man who depends on public transportation does not become the pawn amongst the fight that's going on. Now, on the issue of why cashless, why all these things, the fundamental question is how do we govern our public transportation? The governance question not only on the side of government, also on the side of the private sector. I've always asked this big question. Today, if I wanted to start a business in the Capital Markets Authority sector, the requirements for me to do that kind of business is very stringent. Is because why? You're going to be dealing with people's money. But if I want to start a bus company today, I only need 30 logbooks. I will not be asked any question about the capability and the qualification of the people who are going to be running my company or my circle. How are my drivers and conductors qualified, and how are they trained, how are they employed? The only thing I require is a license from NTSA. And then there are no accountability mechanisms between the operators and the government. So here, government has abdicated its responsibility in providing public transportation. And that is why we as the people must begin to demand from government. What happened to Kenya bus service? Can we have a public transport service that's fully owned by government, fully cashless, fully digital, that any common mwananchi can be able to depend on? And then for the private operators, from like what happens in other jurisdictions, they have a service contract with the government. But when you provide services that are based on A, B, C, D, your pay is guaranteed. So that we cushion the common man from all these competition that's happening.
Why does that not happen here?
It's because, number one, I'll just say it, government has failed.
Why?
It's failed because
Is it
they
failing?
they have not seen the importance of having public transport.
I don't.
It seems deliberate.
It is very deliberate because for them, the way you were saying, when they leave their offices, they have their Prados down there waiting for them. When it's raining in this city, today is raining. Have you asked yourself how that common Mamboga has accessed public transport today? They were standing on a stage that is non-existent. These operators, they're given stages that are non-existent, and they pay an arm and a leg for them. So you're given a stage that has no shade, no facilities, only a space for you to operate from. Whereas we have a government, the people who are accessing that public transport are common Mwananchi. So when the weather behaves the way it is behaving, the common Mwananchi has to suffer the way it suffers. So government has failed. And number two, government has bowed to pressure from the private sector because Matatu is a political constituency.
Exactly.
When they decide today they're going to be 1 term or 2 term, it's a political bargaining tool. So we need to change that conversation. And how do we change it? Government must bring incentives to the operators. You say, you're going to have a company, we're going to support you by capital injection, but we are expecting A, B, C, D from you. With that, we'll begin to change. But this conversation will continue until Jesus comes. But we have started changing. Thank you.
You know, these conversations have actually taken place.
It's getting hot.
Many times.
Yeah.
The issue of whether we should have a public transport sector system and how it works. In fact, someone like Simon Bogo, who's been in the industry for years as Matatu Owners and Welfare Association, and Kina Kimutai, who were there before, will tell you that they have been taken by government to places like Bogota. Go and study the public transport system in Bogota and how it works. They have gone to places, they've come back here. The Ministry of Transport has documents upon documents of how this thing can work.
Yep.
The question is why we don't have a public transport sector and why we don't have order in this sector. One player in the sector, Wilfred Bosire, has the mic. Introduce yourself, tell us where you have invested.
Good evening. My name is Wilfred Bosire. I'm the Secretary General of Mass Mobility Operators Association and Chairman of MCA SACCO. One, I want to say why cashless isn't working in the transport sector. There are several challenges that we have. The staffs that work, the conductors and drivers, they're not on a permanent basis. So if you take money away from them, then they're not guaranteed of a pay. Because if this money goes to an investor's account, and then he realizes he has made either a loss or so he won't pay the driver and the conductor. So one, if you are bringing a system that takes money away from the drivers and the conductors, they won't support it. And that is why initially when the president was taken on a ride from State House, and I knew it was failing.
That's a great use of word.
And I knew it was failing from the word go, because the Matatu sector, the main players have never been involved. And one thing that I can ask the government not to do, we don't need to copy paste. We can't say it's happening in Bogota and it's going to happen in Kenya. You know, we don't know Bogota if there is corruption like it is in Kenya. So cashless can't work if we have not addressed the main issues.
How can cashless work?
I'm trying to go there.
Work on that. And I think we're being told by the director we need to go on a break. But one of the things that that Michuki then and then Amos Kimunya later, when Amos Kimunya was forcing the Matatu sector to go into SACCOs, was to formalize this business.
Yep.
And say that everybody who works here also gets into formal business. That the Matatu crew
Should be our contract.
formally employed. They also now have NSSF, they have then NHIF, they have all those kind of things, and they're paying tax. Why did it not work? Let's respond to that after the break. We are having a conversation, the last one tonight, on whether the country is ready to fully adopt cashless payment in the public transport sector. In the room with us here are stakeholders in the sector. This is passengers, people from the civil society, plus investors in the sector, and The Matatu crew will be back in a moment.
Right, welcome back. You're watching The Last Words, and we are asking the fundamental question tonight. Why can't we have this cashless system in our public transport system or private transport system, wherever you feel works for you?
Private, public.
The question, though, is facing some headwinds.
Already.
That it's impossible to have this because, and Bosire, you had the microphone, and you're at the point of saying that you need cash because the workers, the driver and the conductor, pay themselves by cash. And so removing the cash from this business then essentially collapses the business.
That's not what I said.
What did you
It's
say?
not collapsing. It's not collapsing the
Saying that
business.
they're not
I'm saying the
permanent,
challenge is the drivers are not permanently
Yeah.
employed, and that's a fact. Most of the town service commuter vehicles which operate within Nairobi and the metropolis.
Could you
Because-
just put the microphone
Because it's not very possible to have them on a salary because of the challenges.
Which
that, you know, vehicles they're breakdowns. They're breakdowns. So you cannot be guaranteed that the driver can have one vehicle for an entire month. So it's totally difficult to have him on a fixed pay. That is most of the challenges, and I can dare you, you can check all the transport companies that we own. We cannot be able to sustain a monthly pay because of the targets, and we are left to run this business ourselves. So we have those challenges, and you cannot have a driver on an average. You can't have like 40% of the drivers driving one vehicle for let's say for 6 months. They keep on changing. Actually, they keep on even changing from company to company because they are working on targets. You meet a target, you continue working. That is one of the challenges. So you can't take money away from them. Two is our judicial system and the corruption that is on the roads. If you are, for instance, you are arrested by a police officer and you were to bargain for your release of 200 or 500 shillings. This is a fact. You don't want to pretend. And you don't have the money. You don't have the money there and then. You see, what will happen, you have to go to the police station. And maybe whoever the money has gone to, the account it has gone to, is not reachable at that moment. What happens? You go to the courts. Small traffic offenses, fines are exorbitant. Obstruction, that a police officer cannot be able to justify in a court process. You are charged like 30,000, 10,000. So you see, it becomes a challenge. So this driver or a conductor cannot be safe and secure without having the money. So we have to start addressing the main reasons why the people in the public transport sector need to have cash. And also, we have an issue of the economy. Majority of the Kenyans, majority of Nairobians, for instance, these are people who are they're not on a permanent basis, they're not employed, they're on a casuals. So you see, people are paid on a day basis, and the majority of them maybe are paid with cash. You can't ask someone who has freezer, to put 200 shillings he has been paid to an M-Pesa in Mezwe, because we want to meet the requirement of cashless. So, and again, money is a legal tender. Somebody can't pay you with cash you refuse to take. If, for instance, I came to your car or your bus, I have cash, you tell me I have to give you cash. Actually, I won't pay you because I insist if you don't, either you take the money or you give me a free ride. That's the majority of Kenyans what they will do. So on the issue of cashless, it's not the government to force Kenyans to use it. Currently, we are doing like 60% of cashless, courtesy of M-Pesa. Because majority of Kenyans have money in the M-Pesas. Virtually by that fact, and why M-Pesa is working is, most of the vehicles that you drive on, they have pochi. And that pochi is for the conductor or the driver. Because he can be able to control that money. You understand? So those are real issues why cashless can't work. For instance, like personally I can say we are working on a cashless system that is tailor-made to support or to accommodate the interest of the workers. Because apparently the driver and the conductor, they're in charge of fare collections. And again, you can't give them a product that is anti them. You have to do a product that they can be able to accept, so that we are able to transit into cashless without having conflict. As a government, you know, it's on paper that we are going to go cashless. And if you ask them how, they don't even know. And how are we going to achieve this? They don't even know. Okay. Because they've sat down with companies, with entrepreneurs who have done a technology, yes, and they want to leap. Because they realize if we go to the transport sector and with the mathematics that we were told last time, that we are feeding over 7 million Kenyans. Yeah. If 7 million Kenyans transacted through your system and we are charging 1 shilling, you are making a whopping 7 million Kenyan shillings. So even those tech companies that are providing, because NTSA, as we speak today, they have companies that they have licenses to provide cashless, which some of us we don't know, which of us we have not approved, because every person who gets into regulating the transport sector will always come with a product that will benefit them financially. So there's a matter issue here. And that is why we've seen, we have transited for the less than 10 years. We have had 4 or 5 different speed governors on our vehicles. Who are the beneficiary of this? The companies that have been procured by NTSA to provide those speed governors, and most of them are faulty.
Thank you, Bosire. Asante. We come to this side with Joseph umeongea sana. Wacha peana mic kwanza. Peana pande hii.
Mtavule mtajongea. When someone was spoken, take it to the back, yes.
Habari zenyu.
Nzuri.
Majina ni Eric. Na deal na matatu industry.
Una deal na aje?
Mimi ni tasema ni stage attendant. Wacha niseme hivyo. Okay. Speaking of going cashless, it's somehow tricky, based, according to me, economic wise. Kwa nchi yetu sasa mali tuko, tukiongelea mambo kwenda cashless, kwanza niangalie kama pande yetu kiekonomi ya Kenya venye tuko. One thing, gava yetu kuna kitu moja imetupunguzia sana youth. Nini? Kazi. Once tumeongelea kwenda cashless, on my point of view, one thing, kuna watu wengi sana watakuwa jobless, of which bado tunakuanga jobless wengi sana. Watu wengi wamesoma, lakini wapata mtu kuna mahali amejishikilia, mambo ikienda cashless, hiyo kidogo wanapata, cause tunaongeleleanga yani hand to mouth ya daily. Uwezi utapata kama kwa stage moja pana watu kama 5 na kazi wako kwa kazi kwa hiyo stage. Kuna mtu anaitana anapata kitu kidogo kutoka kwa dereva na makanga. Relationship yake na dereva na makanga ndio inafanya akule. Sijui kama unapata point yangu. Lakini hapa tumekuja ati point ati hakuna do au watu wana access. Na relationship yangu na Kamau ndio inaniekanga kitu kwa mfuko. Yeye mwenyewe aguzi do. Na every day when I wake up, I know nikienda pale, that's where my bread ni hapo. One thing, kitu ya kwanza tutakuwa tumerudisha watu wengi njaa, na tutakuwa hizo to job opportunity tulikuwa tumejicreate wenyewe kwa wenyewe. Unajua bado watu, mimi utapata mimi mali niko nimecreate mwenzangu kwa kazi anapata kitu. yenye gava itupatii. Ni kweli hizi ni zile kazi gava zitupatii, na gava kila siku inasema tuna generate makazi mingi kwa mayouth.
So you want the chaos so that at least chaos at least kwa hii chaos.
Atuongelelei chaos, tunaongelelea hapa tukisema
by chaos here I don't mean violence.
Okay, unaona Mr. Bosiri amesema vizuri, huwezi employ watu wote ona monthly salary. Ni kweli. Assuming mimi niko under monthly salary of tuseme 20k. Kwa hiyo 20k yangu pana mtu yeye relationship yake na mimi anapatanga tuseme 100 kwangu kila siku. Kwa ile 20k yangu tukipiga hesabu ya 100 kila siku hiyo ni 3,000. Uko sure tukikaa naye mwisho wa mwezi mimi ndamtumia 3,000 kupelekea familia yake chakula. Tuongee tuongee venye iko. Kiongea sahi 100 hiyo nakupatia daily ni kidogo sana, lakini ndio inafanya vitu kubwa sana kwa life ya mtu mwingi. Bado mtu tukisema mimi nitangojea mwisho wa mwezi nilipo nimweke ikiwa imeshika, haiwezi mzee Bosire, tuongee ukweli bana. Kwa hivyo sasa ile tumeingia cashless, jua kitu ya kwanza tutakuwa bado tume create opportunities za kazi zimepungua kwa watu wengi sana. Tusidanganyane, gari moja unaweza pata imeajiri watu 10. Ni kweli. Lakini sasa ile tumeenda ati cashless. Juu hii gari sasa yenyewe ikishikwa na dereva apati do. Kwa hivyo kila mtu ni tin. Hapana, haiwezi. Tusidanganyane.
Nani mwingine ataongea? The mic for yes, let's go here.
Thank you so much. My name is Robert Kenya. I work at Justice and Environment Foundation, international NGO. I'm the speaker of the people who cannot be able to speak for themselves. I'm also a hero, fully recognized by the Department of State, and I wanted certificate of recognition by the President in the year 2019. Yes. The warrant has begun Digital Factory as incubators of more agile ways, often of working, filtering the best attribute to capture the opportunities and to deliver impact at the scale. So, everything is digital today. If you wanted to buy, if you wanted to sell, it's digital. So the world has already begun Digital Factory, which has filled the country is the parliament, because they usually repeal the bills without involvement of adequate public participation, as it is articulated in Article 10 of the Constitution of Kenya. This Kenya is the sovereign public. It has its own constitution which governs the country. But the MPs have totally failed in their mandate, because the Act of Parliament, which has been repealed, for example, the NTSA Act, the Traffic Act, and also the Commuters Act, there was no adequate public participation. And I urge the Parliament to allocate money for capacity building, so that people will be taught the Act of Parliament, so that we can work together as a team. How can we repeal a bill in the Parliament without the inclusivity of public participation? That is where they are hiding themselves, because they repealed any national government constituency development fund without involvement of Senate, and also without the involvement of public participation.
Shujaa Kenywa,
yes,
you make very good points.
Yes.
Do you think, what did you vote when you asked whether we are fully ready to adopt cashless? Did you say yes or no?
We must act with...
Are we ready for cashless?
No.
We are not.
Digital.
Asante.
Yes, we turn to digital.
But yes. To the gentleman here.
Okay, my name is Samson Oyugim. About cashless system, the way Latif you have said, mega rider. I had somebody saying my grandmother Do you know my grandmother was the first person who used Mega Rider? Hiyo picha yake bado niko nayo hadi home. So kiliambia about your grandmother, my grandmother was the first person na huko ana hizo vitu za pesa about what?
Yeye ndio alilaunch.
Yeye ndio alilaunch. I think it is seven akiwa na stagecoach. Thank you. So what I was saying, nimewasikia nyi wote, but leo today, you see these alama niko nao, these are matatu. I used to
weka mic kwa mdomo tafadhali.
Oh, pole. I used to dondoka. So naweza sema this transport business, what I can say, very serious ameongea, but sijasikia vile dereva analipwa pesa ngapi? Salary? Dereva analipwa pesa ngapi? Conductor analipwa pesa ngapi? My brother, unasema about kama gears. Tunaambiwa wanaandika watu wengi. Hiyo si kuandika, my brother. That's not kuandika. Hiyo tuseme tu tunasaidiana. Because kuandika, I think, goja, yes, but
yangu si ikatumia so it's my relationship. Kwa hivyo kumaanisha the moment watu wameenda cashless, kuna bado kuna apart. Wacha nikwambie sasa tunaongelea
alafu tutaendelea. So what I'm saying, so wacha niache na hiyo. What I'm trying to say, we don't have cashless systems zenye zinaongea about the conductor and the driver and the passenger. We're inaongea about the matatu sacco and the investor. A passenger like the beba and these things was introduced when Uhuru Kenyatta. Hatukuwa tunajua ni how much. I've lived in Dubai and worked in Qatar, all of them. Do you know likitumia cashless system ya watu hata sigunduangi natumia bus fare. It's cheap, it's affordable. And that's why tumekuja, mimi nimecome back home kufanya hiyo cashless system work for us. Mimi nimeangalia my passenger and the driver and conductor. Do you know our cashless system, Business Daily linichanua. Ikaniambia if we go to cashless system, we shall be making a revenue of 218 billion.
Nani sasa?
Business Daily. Ikilikuwa Business Daily ili report in hiyo time ya Bob Kolimo and Uhuru Kenyatta wakiintroduce that cashless. Just go to Business Daily uangalie utaona 218 billion.
Talking about the revenue in general.
Yes. No. Walikuwa wanasema if you go to fully cashless system, we shall make that money. So nikipiga hesabu zangu nikaanza kupiga how many drivers and conductors do I need in this cashless system, because what tunaongea about cashless na tujaangalia services. Look at Uber nikilipa inaenda, motorbike nikilipa inaenda, matatu nikilipa hiyo cashless ndaka hapo mpaka gari ijae. Ukweli ama uongo? Matatu lazima ijae ndo niende. That's not a cashless system. Tubaki ni basi kwa cash, because a cashless system for me, solution for me is atujai understand matatu inatengeneza pesa ngapi, atujai jua dereva analipa pesa ngapi, conductor na passengers.
Nani hajaelewa?
Let me put example. Okay, acha nimalize. Currently napenda vile alitoa statistics zake akasema 7 million people wana travel day and in daytime. This 7 million, nani amesema 100 ama bob una make this. So me I was like, why can't we just put average fare, because average fare now it's 6,000. Why can't we just work with 4,000 and all matatu zote zingie kwa cashless system? We know they are nini, because currently ilikuwa najua matatu mpya kwenyu mnatoa sako, tunafaa tujue matatu mpya inalipwa ngapi, old inalipwa ngapi, 14 seater na 25 wanalipwa pesa ngapi?
Nani anafaa kujua?
Okay.
Hao wanajua watu matatu.
Wanajua, si ndio? Okay. Yeah. Okay, sasa tunapeleka haraka. That's why stuck with my secret, but because I know everything about matatu. Nikisema matatu alipwe 13,000 per day. Do you know hata kama basi yako ijeenda Saturday ama Sunday ijeenda job, but I will still pay you because we have the passengers.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So you are a solution provider.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's okay.
My name is Murimi Jamlek. I'm a commuter. What I can say, why don't the government pilot the program? Then the private sector will onboard the program if it works. Yeah. That's all.
Private sector and hapo kwa kupilot imeshafika.
Let the government pilot the program.
Wamepilot kadhaa.
We have not seen the results.
1963.
Actually, Bosire and I, last year, I was the chairman of a group that was picked by Namata and JICA. You realize the Ngong Road, there was a pilot project for scheduling, so that you know after every 5 minutes there's a bus here. So those are the things I'm saying. They are ongoing, but the government goodwill is not proceeding. Like the phase 2 of that project, akuna. So already there's a conversation. I don't know. Namata just went quiet. Yes.
Every 5 minutes there'll be a matatu.
And you see, we even introduced the stages whereby a passenger knows when I stand here. After 5 minutes, there is a bus coming, like he's saying, lazima ijae, hiyo ijai, 2 minutes stop. And we did it for 30 days. And it was successful.
And then?
Nothing. Because they involved the transport industry, the government shared their vision with us, and we onboarded, we actually contributed different
So if
number
it
of
was
ways.
successful, Joseph, why didn't you continue with it?
Now, this is
Jai-card.
yes, let me say it.
Hold on.
A pilot project is something that it comes to test the market, acceptance, challenges, and all those things. So the report was done, it is with them. The phase 2 is supposed now to test something else. It was a 4-phase project. This question I want to answer in a very brief statement. It is possible to have cashless. It is possible, but what does it require? Kenya Bus was not government. Government only gives the license. So the government should look at this industry of matatus, what we are doing actually now, reorganizing. If Namata can give a license, you see the BRT thing that was coming. Pick Forward, pick MCA, pick Super Metro, give them a license to operate the BRT for Chuilen. Give them the Kasarani depot. They don't have to pay anything. It is their depot. Let them develop it, whether it's a mall, shops. The revenue that comes from that depot becomes incentive for the operators. So that now we can have kutoka saa 6 asubuhi mpaka saa 5 ni 30 bob. Hata si 100 ni 30 bob because we are earning revenue on other areas. I sat with the transport manager for the Nairobi County. Do you know Nairobi County has all these facilities, land for depots, like hii bus station iko hapa. There is those lands. But because corruption came, they were grabbed. So the government cannot give these facilities. We pay 133 seater, the amount of money we pay for pick and not pick and dropping, seasonal ticket. The matatu industry is the biggest earner for this county at almost 55%. Parking. If you remove that parking and give me back that parking, I don't have to pay it. Give me a place I can drop this passenger and pick them later. I will subsidize my fare. Mega Rider had points. You buy this card, you put your money here, you know you're traveling from Embakasi up to Westlands. It is subsidized because why? The government already has done that, incentivized that service. So if the government give licenses to these companies to operate specific lanes to be operated under cashless platform. Right. Chukua Ngong Road, weka Thika Road, weka Mombasa Road. Sema hizo zote, public operators itakuwa ni cashless and government reduce this amount of taxes and give these incentives. Tomorrow itakuwa operational. Okay. But you want us to go cashless at an expense with no incentive. How?
That makes sense. Okay. Yes, please.
Thank you. I'm Kubai Ranira. I represent pedestrians. I'm the chief executive of pedestrians. Passengers, sorry, passengers.
Pedestrians. You are the chief
And passengers also, and passengers too. Kenyans are ready to go cashless. And the government, in a way, it's ready. The greatest problem we have is the owners, the matatu owners. Because if for sure this is public service vehicle, is it really public service? What is public about that vehicle? Who owns that vehicle so that we can say it's public service vehicle? If we go to public hospitals, the services that we get there are quite subsidized. And you can't complain because it's public. But if you use public service vehicle, what is public about that vehicle? The vehicle is owned by someone. So the only public maybe is the road. and the public, members of the public who are there. So there is nothing public about it. It's a public business but run by individuals, private. It's a private public business operated by.
So you said the problem is who? The owners?
The problem is the owners.
Why? Because they invested in the public transport.
No. Because these businesses are most of these matatu businesses are run by the gang. Let me use that word.
Gangs.
Yes. Most of the matatus are No. I've said most. No. I've said most. I've said most.
All right.
Reasons why I'm saying that. Why were SACCOs formed? Why did we form Matatu SACCOs? We formed Matatu SACCOs so that we can professionalize the Matatu sector. But now, but please protect me from these people. They are calling me. I gave them their time. No. No, I will. I've said most. Please.
Allow him
Freedom
to
of
explain.
speech.
I've said most.
Allow him to explain.
I can't withdraw. I've said most. No. It was not dangerous.
That was 30 years ago. We
Let's-
got rid of
let's-
that room.
okay, so order.
Kindly protect me.
Order.
Please
Okay,
protect me.
Order. Mr. Kubai.
Yes.
Mr. Kubai.
Yes.
What is your definition of gang when you say gang?
A disorganized group of people.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying that the reason as to why Kimunya introduced the SACCOs was to organize this business.
Are they now organized?
Most of them are still not. The reason being,
In your view?
the reason as to why they are not organized, because most of the owners still want to evade the tax. Let me know the reason as to why I'm coming to your SACCO. Yes. That is the reason why you don't want us to go.
Order. Okay, guys. Order.
Kindly protect me. Please protect me.
Okay.
Please protect me.
So let's agree.
I gave them points.
Let us say something.
No.
Bosire, the Matatu sector is very orderly, right?
How can we evade tax?
No. The
Please.
Matatu sector is orderly. So let's have order. Kubai,
Yes,
continue.
most of these SACCOs want to evade the tax. Tell me the reason as to why I go to an office. I'm traveling maybe from Nairobi to a certain town outside Nairobi. And then I have my money in my M-Pesa, and then you are told, no, go to that M-Pesa and withdraw and bring cash.
Yes. There's no
Why?
reason for
Why should
force
you?
me to
Yet when those are banned, we say the government is not. These people want us to remain in cash so that they will continue to avoid tax, to evade tax.
Point is made.
Finally.
Thank you very much. Give him the microphone. You made your points. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman, introduce yourself and start by telling us how you pay tax.
Thank you very much. I'm Paul Diongo. I'm the chairman for Travelers, one of the impactful society in Kenya. At least we operate the major vehicles in Nairobi, and Nairobi, the capital city of Kenya. So we believe that one of the major stakeholders of the transport industry. Or what I wanted to state, we support cashless 100% as our society. And you are not good. We are very civilized society whereby we support matatu operator, support the investors to invest in transport industry. First of all, I just wanted to say currently we are at 60% on cashless operations, and you are working to upgrade on it. And on electric vehicle, because you have electric vehicles, we are operating on 90%. So first of all, I just wanted to say this. If you quantify the investment that you have done on transport industry, that's the reason whereby we call it a transport industry. It is more of service than investment. If you quantify the money or the investment that you have done in that investment, you cannot relate with the returns. It's more beneficial to the passenger than even the investors. Because
So
if you
why are the
can...
investors there?
Yes?
Why do you invest in something that...
Okay, we are investing in it because it's an option. It's a part of an option to invest in the transport industry. But the fact remains that if you if you quantify the investment, the income that it brought to us, and the support it gives to the society, is more of public service than a business. And that is whereby we are telling the government to put it hard on it, not to support us financially, to support enhancing on its operations in this formula. There was a proposal that we made that so that we may enhance on transport, on a cashless payment, let us have a proposal whereby every passenger, as a proof, in case the vehicle get an accident, as a proof that you are the part of that, you are the passenger of from that vehicles, you prove with the payment of cashless. A proposal that was taken, but the government never heeded to implement it. Because what we believe in, if you can let passengers to understand that without the cashless payment, in case of anything, we cannot be paid. I don't want to remain this parasite. I don't mean to call them parasite, but it's not. I don't want to abuse them, because anybody who wants to earn from the vehicles that is not owned, he's not employed, is a parasite. And those parasites are the people who are making this work to be very difficult.
The gangs.
Not gang. No, I'm calling them parasite. Parasite is not really a gang. I'm calling them parasite. I don't want to define them. Say whatever you want to say, but I don't define them. I'm saying a parasite. And a parasite is somebody who wants to harvest from where he have not planted. So, if you can be able to define and make sure that the member of the public have embraced that cashless, we believe that even us, as a public operators, we will be able to benefit more from that vehicles than the way we are benefiting from the cashless, because accountability will be more.
Will be more, yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Thiongo,
yes.
Just for purposes of public information, how do you pay tax?
Okay.
As matatu sector.
Okay, first of all, there is an advance tax to the vehicles. And of course, as a society, each and every year, after we have done an auditing, we used to pay what we call withholding tax. Like our society. Every year you used to pay. Come to our office there, you'll be able to see it.
So you
we used to pay it.
through the circle?
Yeah, through the circle, and the owner of the vehicle used to pay the advance tax for those vehicles.
All right.
And of course, we pay for levies. A lot of monies for levies.
The insurance has a tax for that.
Right.
The RSL has a tax.
Right.
The fuel has a tax.
All right.
License even for the
Actually,
everything
in our society, actually, in our society, in our society, every month we used to pay a county government of Nairobi 2.5 million.
Yes.
Every month, 1 month. One company. Our society, Ford Traveler used to remit 2.5 million every month to the county government of Nairobi.
Now,
that's the enough support to be able to be embraced by the government to support our initiative, not through financial, our ideas.
Mr. Thiongo?
Yes.
Do the matatu owners pay income tax?
Yes, they pay.
For their business?
Yes, they pay.
Every company, just like any other, like there's a time, my SACCO, I was served with a 1.3 tax. I need to pay KRA.
1.3?
Yes, million. And I went there because their math was not right. I told them it is not. We went to court and calculated. Actually, we paid 450,000 million. So it is not a business that operates in the vacuum.
So this is a formal business?
It's a formal business. It has a PIN number that every year we must calculate the tax and remit to KRI. And that is one side of the company. Every individual investor, the bus owner, has taxes they pay. Every year we renew our inspection sticker. Yeah. Once you do that, there is that you have to pay to NTSA for it to be cleared for inspection. And then we have the RSL that is renewed every year. Then if you look at our insurance, the PSV insurance, it is the highest above everything. Then you come to the county government, the seasonal stickers. We even pay for something that's supposed to come from the government. I have to pay for a pick and drop, which the government is supposed to provide for me to drop a passenger and pick them. So when you quantify all these taxes, ya fuel levy, if you bring them together, and that's why I said in the beginning, and you can check with the county government, public transport is the highest earner as an individual single business to the county government. In fact, if you remove the transport industry, even Nairobi County collapses.
Okay.
Even on buying that vehicles, we pay a lot of heavy taxes. Buying only. Buying that vehicle, you pay a lot of heavy taxes. And also in maintaining that vehicle's oil, fuel filter, tires, and all other things.
All right, we'll be concluding shortly in just a few minutes. So people who have not spoken and would like to speak.
Who's not spoken?
We have someone on the mic here.
Yeah.
Good evening. I'm Clinton Arisi, a conductor from Royal Shift.
Let's have 1 minute, please.
Royal Shift Embakasi. Mi hapo kwa cashless hapo uongo na hapo na ni uongo.
Kwa nini?
Sachukua kama saa hii nimetoka Emba, nimefika Tao, nimedrop na stahili kubeba. Wewe utakuja kwa gari uingie kama hujaona mtu ndani. Utachukua kijana wa seti. Ukijana wa seti, sitamwambia eti ungoje ende man. Eti sina pesa cash. Hiyo mbao yake ndio muhimu. Hiyo ndio ataingia nao kwa nyumba jioni. Ukisema tutoe hiyo cash, kama karao atakungoja, umetulia. Unakuja apimisie hiyo dinga. Apige mkono tu. Umwambie una do. Atakwambia kitu muhimu kama ni unapitia Thika Road. Pangani mwisho. Umedrop watu haujawafikisha. Passenger hata kusikiza. Atakwambiaje, mbona huko na hiyo do? Upeka rao sisi utupeleke. Lawama yote ni kwa makanga na dereva. So kutoa hiyo cashless haiwezi.
So sasa hivi vile mna operate na nini na pochi. Unalipaje mse Kamagera, Mswaseti, Karau?
Kuna cash yenye napewa. Si wote wanalipa na pochi.
So uko na float.
Niko na float. Hapo kuna float juu ikifika kwa stage Kamagera najua huyu nampiga wanchwani.
Sawa. Sawa, patia nzako mic hapo.
My name is Hakim Monyango, conductor. Challenges ni mingi. Unaona tukiendea cashless tutaumia sisi kama conductor, unaona? Kama like unaona abiria wengi sahi, unajua Wakenya wengi ku reverse ni mingi. Wengine wanakuonyesha message na yani hata ijaenda, unaona? So unapata by the end of the day hataki kujua gari yake imekuwa kazi. So unapata tunaumia wengi, unaona? Hiyo cashless, we can't allow that.
The reverse is so noted.
Thank you so much. Good evening. My name is Logoa Lokwe. To me, I just have a few questions to ask and also to make my remarks. So, first, I think the cashless thing can work in Kenya. A majority of Kenyans are using cashless transaction on daily basis, be it in terms of making shopping or even commuting from point A to B. But my point here is some of these transport industries, the matatus, for example, I think they need to play the bigger part in terms of cashless transaction in public transport. Why? I think that will also reduce the insecurities. You are working with 1,000 shillings. Someone is seeing an opportunity in your 1,000. Also, those that I've heard, they call them watu wa kuseti or the Kamageras. I don't want to mention these, but in one of the routes, I boarded a matatu. And the very, very same people that are doing the Kamagera and the Kuseti thing, they're the same people that they're stealing from these passengers. You've seen people, their phones being snatched, their handbags, and it is not really, really good. I think for those that are here, the matatu sectors that are here right now, I think you need to check on who you really employ. Or rather,
so it needs to be formalized.
Yes, they need to be formalized. Some of the passengers, they don't feel safe when they use the matatu sector. Right. Some tend to use the Uber, the Bolt, so that they feel at least they are safer. And my question is to this gentleman.
The chairman.
Yes. I've forgotten his name. Why should the government give you incentives so that you can provide good services to the people?
All right.
I answer that?
Yes.
The reason why we require an incentive is, like we said, this is a public service. A public service, for me to make it better for the citizen, the government to take some burden from me, because the burden that I am carrying on behalf of government is to supply this service. So if there is an incentive, and it's not in terms of money, give me places that I can drop without paying And in actually developed cities, that they are called the depots, like the one that is being built at Kasarani. It is given to a company that is providing these services. You're allowed to do the malls, the shops, the kamageras and the boys that feel that akutakuwa na kazi, they get employed on that because of ticketing, scheduling of the buses. It is done at that center. So you don't even have to have as many as possible on the line, because a passenger, ratu kiwapa in TV, I can book my seat nikiwapa, nikijule sandatoka nichukue. So those depots are supposed to accommodate the workers that we have. Some employment at the ticketing level, some to make sure that the buses are charged or buses are cleaned, the car washes, the shops, they are managed like that. Those are the incentives that you give to a transport company for it now to give the service at a subsidized rate, which the government is saying it wants.
Makes sense. There's a gentleman who has
This gentleman, I think, should be the last one.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, my name is Adrian Godfrey. I'm a driver. So, they have spoken about cashless and cash. So, I'll consider on cash. I'll say on cash, it is more convenient to pay the conductor and the driver. So, if you change to cashless, you should look on the way that you make the payment to the driver and the conductor on daily basis, because you cannot tell someone who woke up around 3 in the morning and ended his or her work at 12 in the midnight to go home without payment. So that's not more convenient. So we should consider on both sides. The investors side, if they want cashless, you consider on how to make payments on daily basis to the driver and conductors. So don't consider on one side. If the money goes to the investor, so the conductor with the driver will be waiting for the money the next day. So that's
it's
not
like
convenient.
The crew don't trust the owner.
This is a...
It's a handsome
All right. Shall we?
It needs a day 3.
Yeah.
This is it's a big conversation here.
Yeah.
And what we are saying, what we are hearing, is that yes, there is willingness, and it's actually possible and doable.
Yeah.
But work needs to be done, and the work that needs to be done, just like even Charles had said, it starts with the goodwill of government. Government, by the time the government is coming up with all these policies, go cashless and all, let it not be merchant-driven policy. Let it be public good-driven policy, because I think that's what the pushback is. You're coming up with a policy because you already identified like smart work on a system to our force to make pesa. Now, if it's public good-driven policies, then we'll also look at how do we make this actually a public interest service, and not and bringing in everybody. So bring the private sector to invest and bring in the vehicles, and then you're guaranteeing them that once you come in here, this circle you'll operate on this route. These are the other incentives that we give. So you have a guaranteed way of making money and recouping from your investment. But then the public is benefiting from knowing there's order, there's efficiency, accessibility, and all those things. And if technology comes in and technology is easy to deploy in the sector.
I think I've gotten to that point as well, where both
Take
sides... No. I am not sure if I'll have a matatu after this. But yeah, I think it's really both sides, where it has to be more human-centric, because again, you're dealing with people, the public, who continuously look for your services. But also, like everyone is saying, the government continues to abdicate its duties on how it presents to itself, to the industry, and to the people at large. So a very good component would be these 2-3 groups that are very equally important, to have some order. And why I raised accessibility is because it's not just accessibility to transport, it's also accessibility to me having safe transport. It's me making sure that when I'm waiting for the car, I am safe where I'm at and inside the car. This is also an industry that has also had cases of sexual abuse inside this car. So compounding, creating something that actually works for Kenyans would be important. But again, I'm very much in between why I say we need a day 3, because the driver and the kamageras and the conductors are not well instituted in this industry. And the fact that there is no formalization it creates a problem because you want the driver to show up to work, but at the same time, you also need to trust the driver to send you back your earnings. And that mistrust will always continue being there for as long as the driver and the conductor don't have a formalized way where they're having dignified paid work moving forward.
And the first point you come in, there's actually an issue that Charles had also raised, which is, so we know who trains whom, right? Kenya Railway Training Institute to train railway workers.
Yeah.
You know, Kenya Medical Training College to train medical workers. Where do we train public transport workers? And is there a curriculum? Is there they're trained in everything from, customer care to driving, to safe driving.
Yeah. Human rights.
NOS.
Because why are you throwing people out of the car?
Right. No, I think it's an important question. I leave more confused than I came in here. I thought it is a more direct response than what it is. It's extremely complex. That our inability to have honesty in public service and come from the top, governance, has really festered and created a situation that's impossible for us to find a way on how to have just honest men working for an honest coin. And we end up in this situation where you have a system that incentivizes exploitation, because everyone is getting exploited across the line.
Yeah, everyone.
No one is getting out of this, winning it. The people who are working who don't have contracts as driver or conductors are being exploited. The investor is getting exploited, all right? The people who are running our institutions and, attempting to be investors in this matatu industry.
By force.
Yes. They are not making it easy for everyone. And I think that this is one of the classic cases of, if you're going to look at the bottom of it all, if you're looking, what is really at the core of this issue, the question of public trust, people who get into office so that they can do something for public good, there is evidence tonight that public good essentially does not exist. Because the people who get into office give us solutions that are for themselves. And they've created a situation whereby, down the line, all of us are suffering. And that is not what we hope that we're going to have a conversation tonight. That will be the last word, ladies and gentlemen. It is leaving us in abeyance, but it is what it is.
Which I think it's also good because now
it is
it's more
reality.
discussion.
Yes.
It has been
All
a
right.
reality.
Yeah. Zaha Indimuli, Eric Latif, and I'm James March, and the lady and gentleman who have come tonight to give us such incisive and really, really good insights. Really appreciate your time.
There's gender equality in the industry.
Yes. Thank you very much. Hasta la próxima.